Hello guys, welcome back to the crew Wallriding. Driving all cars, part number 46. The Ford F-150 SVT Raptor. A pickup which core is, well, for the normal specs it's kind of a full spec, street, dirt, performance, rate and circuit, and it has one extreme spec, the Monster. Of course, it's a pickup, so big engine in there, okay, but that also means pretty heavy, and yeah, that might be a problem handling wise, as it often is with the heavier cars in the game. Dials and numbers a little bit invisible if you look at it like this, so probably one of the cars sort of mismatched with the latest tunnel patch. What's a tunnel patch? For those who don't know yet, they did a patch where if you go into a tunnel, the dashboard lighting goes on. If you go out of the tunnel, it goes out again. And that's all cool features that they come up with, but usually they mess it up just like they did now. And that means that dials and numbers on the dashboard are, in some of the cars, not visible during daylight anymore. And this seems to be one of those suffering from it. So this one can go on the list that need to be repatched. For the dashboard at least. Meanwhile, we are not going pretty fast, are we? But of course we are driving the full stock, because which is sometimes a bit deceiving, as you will see later on. It looks like this thing has no acceleration, no speed at all. But, well, we might throw in a few surprises here and there. We're approaching a monster arena, and seeing this thing has a monster spec, why not start with that one? Monster specs, just like the drift specs, all of them can be used. Although some of them have some issues with landings and for monster arenas, combos and things like that. I think if we really would make a ranking depending on certain stuff, combos are not immediately an issue with this. That ramp half pipe thing is a little bit bugged there. This is a bit long. There are shorter cars in monster spec, which makes it easier to do the 360s or something. But this is, if I'm not mistaken, the monster spec with the highest top speed. Although it's also that is all pretty close if you compare the monster specs, but this one has the highest if you put it full speed. I have mine, I think, at this moment at full acceleration. I'm switching between full speed and full acceleration for different reasons. Full speed is something I put in there for instance for the raceline skill. Let's see, 720 is pretty okay, landings are okay. Monster specs, Skyline and this one are pretty close, as being one of the better ones, if not the best. But it all depends on the arenas, it all depends on these specific skill tests that you can do with them or not. In the beginning I very often used the Skyline in all of these events. although not in this arena. In this arena, also for specific reasons, I use the Abarth if we have to do this one for a summit or a summit qualifier. But lately, if I'm not doing skill tests and stuff in the Skyline, then I'm opting for this one. It all depends a bit if we need speed, if we need more acceleration. For a scramble test, put on full acceleration sometimes helps. Also that it depends on the track a bit. Full acceleration or full speed. And this is a pretty good monster spec next to the Skyline overall. Can be used in skill tests, can be used in monster arenas, or at least in certain ones. So for the extreme spec there is only one, but it's definitely the best use because the monster spec is pretty good. Moving to the street spec. Trying to find some road. This is a street spec. That's where it belongs. Now this is a bit heavy and a bit, well, sliding about here and there, and that's probably going to be the problem, the handling itself. The full stock seemed to have no speed and no acceleration, but yeah, that might change a bit with some of the specs. This is a street spec. We're going towards the 1 mile drag test for the acceleration, and so what we are looking at here is a bunch of 26 and 27 seconds on the clock so far. We have a 25.7 from the Skyline, which is considered to be at least one, if not the best street spec, and at least top 3 for sure. And for the bikes we have the Monster from Ducati, at this moment 25.6, but the KTM is still to come and I think that will be faster, but that's just an opinion. This is a heavy. We are doing the acceleration on the Bonneville flat, which is not really off-road, but it's also not really a road, so I don't know. Of course this thing has 4-wheel drive, which gives it a pretty good start. Seems to have a strong nose as well, but the weight might kill it on acceleration. Then again, a little surprise thrown in here. If you looked at us driving in the full stock, you thought, what was that? But, well, if you look at it now, 25.737, that is 16 thousandths of a second slower than a Skyline on a 1 mile drag race. And it's even raining. So acceleration is a plus, which is something you were not expecting if you saw us drive that full stock there earlier. It's one of the fastest in street spec that we have tested so far, and well, we covered more than half of the street specs already, so a little surprise there. The dirt. Dirt 26, 27, 28 seconds. Well, mainly 27 and 28. The fastest here, 26.2, the Rev RT, which is considered to be the best or one of the best dirt specs. This gives me a bit more of the feeling of a full stock, and it also kind of shows in the time. 27.6, it's somewhere in the bottom of the competition list, if you could put it like that. So it is below average. We have a few cars doing 28. Let's see, something to compare with the other pickup, Silverado, 28.4. Then this one is faster. The Ram 28.5. So yeah, if you compare it to the other pickups, the Raptor is the fastest of the lot. Performance. Fastest here is the LaFerrari so far with 22.5. although the Huayra probably will go under that, but or somewhere close. I've done about 2400 kilometers in this thing in performance spec, and there is a couple of reasons for that. It has pretty good acceleration. We're not gonna do 2 seconds, I guess. Nope. 23.0. So it's a half a second faster, slower than the LaFerrari. But we have a bunch of 23 and 24 cars in performance, and I've tested 30, 35, maybe even more. So this is way above average. It's amongst the faster ones, give or take the few exceptional 22-second cars, but again, acceleration pretty good. Moving to rate. Slowest here is the buggy, 31 seconds. Most of the other rate specs tested here do 30 seconds, somewhere in that range, and let's just move to the pickups. This might be a better comparison. Silverado 29.9, the Ram 30.2. And this is not going anywhere, is it? 242, 243 I was getting from the other specs, 239 I seem to get stuck here in this one. And that also results in the slowest time for the pickups, 30.5, which is in the middle of the pack. Average, surprisingly, compared to the other specs. This is not that good acceleration wise. The circuit spec, 21.9 for the Ferrari 458, which is considered overall as one of the best, if not the best, in circuit. Other than that, a bunch of mostly 23-second cars, and a couple of 22-second cars here. Seems to be the weight is a bit too much to the back of the car or to the rear, and I don't know. Is that good, bad thing for the acceleration? Let's have a look. 23.8 seconds, going toward 24 seconds, and well, I have one or two 24-second cars, but that's it. So no, below average here. Getting worse apparently. Rate and circuit, average or below average acceleration. Street, very good. Performance, pretty decent. And dirt, kinda okay. But it's still, I'm still gonna go for acceleration as a plus, especially for the street and performance. And also for the monster spec, so yeah, acceleration will be a plus. Now we come to the handling, and that's probably going to be a bit tricky. It's pretty long, it's pretty heavy, so well, a bit of an issue, I think. Brakes are kinda okay, at least I was expecting way worse. Yeah, but yeah, we already see it. It's a bit dark to begin with, but it's somewhere going from day to night, I think, and not sure how this is going to look on video. Meanwhile, we are sliding about, oversteering in through the corners, and might be good acceleration wise on a straight line, but coming out of the corners it's sort of coming out of the corner kind of drifting like here, not really getting much from it other than a bit more oversteer and uncontrollable situations. So nope. For racing street spec, not an option. If you want to show up on the traffic lights and an acceleration test, well, then you might have a shot. But once a couple of turns show up, not an option. It's too heavy, it overslides too much, and it's, well, it is heavy and long car. Once it starts drifting or sliding on you, then it might be a bit tricky to handle or to correct it. And meanwhile you're losing time. Top speed, I guess that will not be an issue. Usually it's with the, nope, not an issue at all. 364, that is up there with the better specs in street. So top speed, it has acceleration, straight line acceleration at least, but it is all a bit too heavy and too stiff of a body chassis to do some miracles with this. And seeing its street spec, it's supposed to do city runs and sharp corners and traffic, and it might push traffic aside. Seeing it has the weight, it probably can take a hit, but no. Handling wise, you're gonna have a big trouble in the city. Something like New York, and you have to do a race there. Well, good luck if you're gonna use this thing. So let's forget about the street spec and switch to performance spec. Seeing we are doing the road tests. I only done 85 kilometers in this street spec. I just see on the speedometer, and well, that kind of says it all. Switching to the performance spec, I've done 2,400 kilometers with this thing, which might sound strange, seeing it has a pretty stiff handling, but this thing has its use. The acceleration is more than okay. The top speed, as you will see in this test, is also more than okay. And this is probably the car with the best wall riding capacities in this game. And you might surprise a few people if they don't know about it. You show up with a pickup, they show up with a sports supercar, and they think, oh, let's smoke this thing. Yeah, they might be in for a surprise. If you're on a twisty track with a lot of barriers and walls, he's gonna have a problem coming through there. You're not going to have a problem at all. Here we go. Bam. Just keeps going. Hit the barrier, keep going. If you go with the wrong angle, then you might lose some speed, as you can see here. Here I'm completely losing speed, but on that first barrier or wall right, here we go again. Speed is more likely to going up instead of coming down. And there are some tracks, even in PvP out there, going from one corner to another with all with barriers. And it's pretty simple. With this thing you can keep on going full throttle. If you get it right though. And that also means that this thing can, seeing it has top speed, it can be used on some of the speed trap events seen they very often in the summit. They come up with tracks that have been used before. This is definitely an option. There is a speed trap, trying to figure out where it is, but can't say by heart now, but it sort of has an S corner in there with two of these barriers, and well, if you take another car you're gonna have a problem making that corner, and the time point or checkpoint for the speed trap, the camera, is right behind that S corner. And that's where you get the advantage with this thing, because you can wall ride through that S corner and you never lose speed, and you can get a very high speed on that camera. We are doing 405 kilometers an hour, which is probably one of the highest we have had there on that section. There are cars out there with more top speed. So it has top speed, it has pretty decent acceleration as well, and you have the wall riding capacities of this car, which is going to give you an advantage on some tracks. Especially if people don't know about it, you might surprise the odd new player that is not aware of it all, thinking that he's going to smoke you in his Lamborghini or whatever. He might be in for a surprise. So, which immediately brings us to the best use for this car. It's probably the performance. It has a wall riding capacity, it has a top speed, it has the acceleration, so it can also be used in speed traps and on tracks with a lot of corners. This could be a miracle. For other time attacks, well, not really an option, of course. And the reason I say that it is best use is because I am aware that the dirt is kinda okay. The rate is not that good, and the circuit, well, yeah, maybe for an oval, but other than that, also not, compared to the competition, that is not really that good. 23.8 in the mile drag, that's already pretty slow, that's below average and amongst the worst that we've tested so far. So we'll see how it handles, but brakes, not that superb, at least not for a circuit spec, and that's already problem number one, I guess. Testing the wall riding capacities of the circuit spec doesn't seem to be that good, so nope. Some of the cars do it. An Impala in street spec can wall ride, although not as good as the Raptor in performance spec. It might be able that they patch it at one point, because I saw footage on YouTube from the Silverado in I'm not sure in which spec it was, but doing wall rides, and I think that has been patched because it's really slowing down now if you do it. But the Raptor in performance hadn't been patched yet, so yeah. Meanwhile, we are braking and slowing down to corners because can't really throw this thing in, and no. Have to slow down here. Bit heavy as well. The weight seems to be a bit of a problem. Was not really the case with the Silverado in circuit spec. But this is all a bit sliding about, two-wheel action, and then top speed wise, circuit spec we're looking at 420, we're going over it, so definitely also this one has top speed. Might be used speed trap on ovals or something, might work. So top speed they seem to have, and that is I'm not 100% sure about the race spec, but also the dirt spec has pretty decent top speed, if not amongst the best. So top speed is a definite plus for this car. Acceleration for some of the specs, although not for all. But the stiff handling seems to be a problem, especially in street and in circuit as well. So kind of the conclusion from the for the road specs. Street performance, circuit performance is the best, or best used in this game. Now, of course, while I'm doing these videos, they came up with the news of the new expansion. They're going to level 60. Cars are going to level up as well to I don't know, 14.99, 15.99. Who will tell? Depending on how much increase we're gonna get. But the fact is, of course, that that's 200 points or 300 points difference than we now have. That means that cars are going to gain a bit of speed at least. I saw something like a diamond bonus instead of speed, acceleration, brake or grip, so it might mean that we're gonna have a completely different story with the new expansion. Some cars might weaken, some cars might get stronger, so I don't know, wait and see, I guess. Who knows? Maybe the Huayra will no longer be OP in performance and the Ferrari 458 no longer OP in circuit. It is all possible. Meanwhile, we're all going over 300 kilometers an hour in a dirt spec, so again here, top speed, not a problem. Just like with the other specs, not a problem at all, amongst the better ones. What we also know from the acceleration test is that it's not that good compared to the other dirt specs, acceleration wise, so okay. The thing with this car is it all goes pretty smooth and it also looks pretty smooth. So I'm thinking it gives a bit of a deceiving feeling when you're driving it. Sort of sliding through the corners and that all goes, although it has the weight and it's pretty big and wide and stuff, but yeah. It's coming out of the corners, that probably will be the problem. So you sort of, although you're drifting through the corners, so already there you lose some time, and coming out of the corners you're very often going to hit that nitro boost, because otherwise you're not going anywhere fast, at least. Now you see it doing 250, just a long corner to the right, and all of a sudden you're doing 230, so you lose quite some speed in the corners. While other dirt specs go through there a bit smoother. It likes a bit of speed as well, I think. It has the top speed, but corner speed and handling speed, it is not that good. Pretty good car, this Raptor in this game, if you can keep it straight, it seems. Sort of was the same with the circuit and the street, a bit less with the performance, but even then that has the the wall ride capacities, but if it hadn't didn't have that one, would also be a bit tricky to handle, and you would lose it in the corners. The handling seems to be the biggest problem overall for this car. That's what I make of it. A bit of a boat handling. Understeer not that much, but oversteer you will have. And the brakes are not that good either, so that's what I call a bit of a boat handling. But if you come into a straight, then it has the power though. And the top speed to go with it. But since we're in a dirt spec, you're not gonna encounter many long straights. It's going to be twisty tracks with lots of corners. It's a bit too heavy to handle in dirt, let's put it like that. But if we go for the off-road specs, dirt and raid, after all dirt will probably be the best. Because this thing in raid spec has a lot of lights, so you will definitely see where you're going, but that's about it, I think. You can probably mess about somewhere in the snow or on the swamps or something, but I don't know, we'll see. If you're really going off-road, heavy off-road sections, I kinda doubt that this is going to be any good. Which is kinda surprisingly, because the other pickup, the Silverado, is next to the Mustang 2011 probably one of the better specs in, well, not probably, it's one of the better specs in raid. So you're kind of expecting the same from this, seeing it's also, well, it's competition of a Silverado, also pickup. But this is not as good. Again, straight line, it has the top speed, although it's also there, lacking a bit compared to the competition. But it doesn't handle that well as the others. Small jumps, not a problem. Let's say that this car comes with a few surprises. Street and performance have a pretty good acceleration, not something you expect from a pretty heavy car. They have big engines, so the top speed, okay, that's not really a surprise, you can kinda expect that, but the handling is not that good. Also there, due to the weight, not a big surprise, but what's kind of a surprise is that the off-road specs, if you hit the dirt roads with a dirt spec, or the completely go off-road with a raid spec, sort of what they are built for, they're not that good. That's more of a, so sort of two surprises there. Fast acceleration for some of the road specs, amongst the best even, and the capacities of the off-roaders are not as good as they should be. It's kinda off-road SUV, so they are made for it, at least they should be. But not in this game though. Also, acceleration is a bit of a problem for this thing in the raid spec. that the yeah, if you compare the rate specs, just the pickups, Silverado, Dodge Ram, Ford Raptor, it'd probably be Silverado 1, Ram 2 and Raptor 3. Raptor being the worst of the 3 pickups in and not only of the 3 pickups, I think it's one of the worst rate specs because it's lacking quite a few things. It also flips over easily, lacks a bit of acceleration, lacks a bit of top speed compared to the others. Although the top speed is not really an issue, but the handling and the acceleration in rate spec is. So nope. Best use for this car, the monster spec definitely can be used. It's one of the better ones. And yeah, the performance spec for speed traps and stuff like that, especially if there are corners where you have to wall ride. Best car to wall ride in this game, Ford Raptor in performance spec. And that was meanwhile, while I was saying that, sort of the conclusion for this car. We started this test with the monster spec, so we have covered all the specs for this car. And meanwhile, this thing is crashing again and activating the crash cam again while it's just doing a jump. The Ford Raptor. It has its use if you go for the performance or the monster. Other than that, I would just leave it be. That was part number 46 for this series. I will see you guys in the next one, and bye for now.